Today's headlines on 24 News. Have scientists found a cure for the deadly malaria outbreak? Water wars worsen across the world. And it's snow joke for former ski resort Val d'Isère as it gambles on its future. Hello, I'm SUMANT BHATIA. Clinical trials for the latest vaccine for drug-resistant falciparum malaria have got underway in London. They come amid growing concern at the spread of the latest strain in southeast England. Martin Wright reports.
If left untreated, this man could be dead within the week. Now there's at last some hope for him and his wife. This new vaccine has looked good in the laboratory. Now doctors are desperate to see if it can save lives. More than 5,000 cases of the deadly strain of malaria have now been reported, and over 200 people have died. There have always been mosquitoes here, but until recently, they were harmless. Now they carry a rare strain of parasite that is testing scientists to the limits. The outbreak has sparked fierce arguments between conservationists and health campaigners who would like to see these marshes drained to stop the killer mosquitoes breeding. The conservationists disagree, pointing out that they are irreplaceable biodiversity hotspots and a vital breeding ground for rare birds. It's an argument which hasn't impressed Maya Richards, mother of the twin babies who died of malaria last month. She has accused the Green Lobby of putting birds before babies. Martin Wright, 24 News.
Fresh fighting is reported in the so-called water war between the Egyptian-Sudanese alliance and the Nile headwaters axis, grouping South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya and Uganda. A UN-mediated ceasefire broke down yesterday, leading to more misery for refugees, now believed to number more than 3 million following Egypt's bombing of Ethiopia's Tana Dam. UN mediators have also started a new round of talks between the Welsh and English governments over the ongoing water standoff. Birmingham and much of the Midlands is still dependent on water from Wales, but supplies are being disrupted under Cardiff's Welsh Water for Wales First policy. Tensions have heightened over recent incidents, including the so-called Sons of Glendaw activists blowing up a pipeline last week and Birmingham's Reservoir Dogs gangs claiming they were behind suspected sabotage at a Welsh storage station. It was once a top alpine ski resort, but now Val d'Isère in France is closing its pistes for good. Thomas Winwood reports.
This is Val d'Isère in better days, just over a decade ago. Back then, it was one of the best-known ski resorts in the world, loved by holidaymakers and adored by the professionals for its tight turns and steep drops. It was kept alive for years by artificial snow machines as the real thing became a rarity. But with the mountains increasingly snow-free, Val d'Isère is now unrecognisable from those glory days. So it's decided on a radical remake. Like nearby Verbier across the Swiss border, it's rebranding itself as a casino hotspot, the 5th resort in the Alps to do so. But has the once proud valley left it too late to cash in on the gambling jackpot? Thomas Winwood, 24 News.
Just 15 years after it opened, the government has announced the indefinite suspension of the HS2 railway. It blames the decision on a combination of repeated metal thefts, heat buckle damage to rails, and the spiralling cost of power. And that's your news for now. Today's headlines on 24 News. Where there's muck, there's brass for UK Air. Could this be a new wave of energy for Britain? And Birmingham's inner city farms hit new heights. It's the 15th anniversary of the opening of HS2, and Rail England has just announced that for the first time, all high-speed trains are running on 100% renewable energy. That qualifies them for additional European climate credits. Although many individual journeys had been renewably powered, intermittent supplies meant that some still relied on gas-fired grid backup. Now, thanks to the latest super battery storage farms coming on stream, the trains will be fully powered from renewable sources. However, when asked whether climate credits would lead to lower ticket prices, Rail England declined to comment. Is UK Air relying on rubbish to see its profits soar? It's buying Thurrock-based Biopower International for 2 billion bitcoins. Thomas Winwood reports.
It looks like any normal plane taking off, but this is UK Air's first commercial flight using so-called waste-to-fuel sources. Airline profits have been hit hard by carbon levies on aviation fuel, but the new fuel is tax-free, leading to cost savings of 50%, says UKA. Now it's buying the company which has supplied it. Biopower Limited has transformed the former oil refinery site into the country's waste-to-fuel leader. It will also help power UKA's future strategy. The airline says it is committed to using green fuel for 50% of its air miles. And as well as so-called rubbish power, it's also pinning its hopes on the latest in biofuels made from green algae. Thomas Winwood, 24 News.
Tidal power is now effectively subsidy-free, so claims developers Natural Lagoon Power. The firm turned on its 6th tidal power plant in Scotland today and says it's generating power more cheaply and reliably than solar, and not much more expensively than wind. Experts now say lagoons may soon supply well over 1/10 of the UK's electricity demand. The technology is also good news for British industry. The world's largest lagoon plant is poised to come on stream next week in the Gulf of Cumbat in the Arabian Sea, under a joint venture involving Natural Lagoon Power and the Indian state of Gujarat. The first electricity has started flowing through the new Med1 interconnector, linking southern Europe to the Ouarzazate solar park in Morocco. Thanks to power exported by the 4 gigawatt capacity park, the largest collection of concentrated solar plants in the world, Morocco now boasts the highest solar revenue per head of any of the world's major energy producers. The opening of the interconnector coincides with the country taking over the presidency of OSEC, the Organisation of Solar Exporting Countries. Birmingham now has its 35th vertical farm, thanks to the conversion of the New Street car park. Martin Wright reports.
Back in the 2030s, this car park, along with many others, was fast becoming redundant, thanks to the rise of driverless e-cabs. So owners MCP decided to cultivate another market. And this is the result. Goodbye car park, hello Sky Farm. Along with Chicago, Birmingham can claim to be the world leader in this technology, and the city can now, weather permitting, meet over a quarter of its fresh vegetable needs. Some critics argue these farms use too much energy to make them worthwhile, but their fans insist that the use of renewables, combined with cutting down food miles, makes them an ideal solution to the growing demand for fresh, healthy produce. MCP claim that the Sky Farms represent carbon-neutral agriculture at its finest, and they say the company now earns more money from farming than from car parks. Insiders report it's even planning a name change to Midland Cultivators plc. Martin Wright, 24 News.
And that's all for today. Whatever you do, have a good night.